Chapter 12 Hors de Combat. The X and Campbells held a combined indignation meeting in council of war. If Ginny Bubo could hear us plotting against him, he'd leave the country, Ginny said, or else laugh his feathers off at our funny ideas, put in Dorothy. We had suggested everything from making a pet of him to serving him an individual atomic bomb. No idea seemed to offer much hope. How would it be to cage up Andrea and her cubs until they are larger? Dick suggested seriously. That would be pretty hard to do, I said. Anyway, it's not just Andrea's family that concerns us. There are many other raccoons in the woods, and we couldn't catch them all. There was silence in the group. Then Sonia said, "Can we take turns watching for the owl? I'd be glad to stay up all night and guard the raccoons. No, dear, I'd, I interrupted. It wouldn't do any good. We could guard so little of these big woods, and the raccoons and the owl wander far and wide." Silence again. Then Jenny had an idea. Could we catch Jimmy Bogo alive and take him to a zoo? This seemed to have a threat of possibility. A live trap for an owl might be designed. We must remember, though, I cautioned them, this is a legal game refuge, and we have no right to trap anything or to shoot it. Only the conservation warden can take such steps. It was agreed that I should place the whole matter before the warden and ask his help. Every night now was a serious threat to our pets, and our hopes that were dimmed when I called at the warden's home, and found that he was away on other work and would not return for a week or more. Ginny Boo perched right on our island that evening and repeatedly gave his cat-like cries. He seemed to be deliberately showing his contempt for us. I went to his tree and frightened him away. He merely flew to the mainland and recommenced his ominous call. It looks as though he has us whipped, I said to Jenny. I've run out of ideas. Listen, cried Jenny. What's that? Out in the blackness on the mainland came a series of fierce, savage animal cries. The sounds were from a swampy area where it would be just about impossible for us to go at night. For several minutes we listened anxiously. There's a terrible fight going on, Jenny exclaimed. I wish there was something we could do to stop it. But then there was deep silence. It's over, I said. That evening we watched most anxiously for Andrea. Big Boy showed up and had the feeding station all to himself. Blondie joined Big Boy, and they were right friendly with each other. Later, Lady came with her 3 cubs. Still no Andrea. Near midnight, Jenny stood at the window while I was reading. Suddenly, she gave a little gasp. She's here, Sam, she said, and oh, just look at her. She's been in a terrible fight, I do believe. Her face is cut, and she seems unable to walk steadily. Andrea, indeed, was a sorry sight. She bore the evidence of a savage struggle. There were deep gashes in her face and about her head, and her fur was disheveled. And there's Looney Coon, said Jenny. Sam, he's been hurt too. That must have been their fight we heard. What has happened? Looney Coon showed some wounds, but he was as energetic as ever. He raced up to the feeding pen and immediately got in a rough and tumble match with his brothers. Andrea, however, was not interested in food. She walked over to the bird bath and with great difficulty raised herself up on her hind feet so she could reach in. Then she drank and drank as though she could never get enough. Jenny hurriedly prepared some warm bread and milk. Andrea ate sparingly of this, then curled up on the ground. Apparently, she had been through a most trying and exhausting experience. Do you notice that we don't hear the voice of Jenny Bobo? I asked Jenny. We listened for a time, fearful lest the weird, haunting cry of the owl would pierce the solitude. Yet only the sounds of the wind in the pines and the voices of insects, frogs, and tree toads and night birds came to us. I knelt beside Andrea and examined her wounds. They were numerous, but none of them was serious. There were sharp gashes in the flesh, and I could see many spots on her body where large chunks of fur had been snatched from her coat. About her eyes were cuts, and her lips were lacerated. It looks to me as if Andrea has settled accounts, I said to Jenny as I rose to my feet. These wounds were made by sharp talons and a powerful beak, not by the fangs of a wolf or coyote. It's my guess that Jenny Bobo made a mistake tonight, a fatal one for him. It may be that he got overconfident. This time I believe he struck at Lenny Coon. Perhaps Andrea was in the nearby brush and the owl didn't see her. Jenny Bobo had courage, strength, and cleverness, but Andrea had all this and one thing more, the determination to defend her young. Yes, I believe Andrea and Jenny Bobo fought it out tonight. Jenny brought out more warm milk for Andrea and knelt near her as she ate it. Bless you, Andrea, she said. Raising a family in the forest is difficult, isn't it? The next day we went through the woods in the direction from which the sounds of combat had come that night. After considerable searching, we found grim evidence of the battle. Right at the edge of the swampy area, owl wings and feathers were scattered about. The ground was torn up and brush was tangled and broken. To the victor belongs the spoils. No doubt, Andrea and her cubs had feasted on fresh great horned owl when the struggle was over. The voice of Jenny Bobo was not heard again in our forest.